Hello everyone. Today we're discussing the topic of natural disasters. We will begin this presentation by explaining what natural disasters are. We will also look at different types of natural disasters. Then we will discuss two case studies that will illustrate how the natural disasters relate to environmental justice. The definition of natural disasters is any catastrophic event that is caused by nature or the natural processes of the earth. The severity of a disaster is measured in lives lost, economic loss, and the ability of the population to rebuild. Events that occur in unpopulated areas are not considered disasters. So a flood in an uninhabited island would not count as a disaster, but a flood in a populated area is called a natural disaster. Therefore, events such as earthquakes, blizzards, floods, hurricanes, and so on would all be categorized as natural disasters. There are numerous types of natural disasters. Firstly, the geological category includes avalanches, landslides, volcanic eruptions, sinkholes, and earthquakes. The hydrological natural disasters refer to floods and tsunamis. Events such as blizzards, cyclonic storms, hailstorms, ice storms, heat waves, cold waves, thunderstorms, droughts, and tornadoes are all classified as meteorological. Wildfires are natural disasters that occur naturally due to droughts and lightning, but are also often caused by humans. Lastly, space disasters include impact events of meteors or asteroids and solar flares. Impact events mean that the Earth will be eventually hit by a meteor or asteroid. Solar flare refers to an event when the sun releases large amounts of solar radiation, which can destroy our electrical equipment on Earth if the radiation is strong enough. Here are a few of the common causes of natural disasters. Firstly, global warming is a great cause of natural disasters since it affects our planet in several different ways. Global warming leads to an increase in temperature of oceans, which in turn leads to more and stronger hurricanes and tropical storms, since hurricanes get the energy from the seawater. Moreover, the probability of droughts increases since the planet's average temperature increases. It is quite difficult to prove the causal connection between climate change and natural disasters, since there are many other variables, but the increase of natural disasters over the last decades likely leads to the conclusion that global warming is a major contributor to natural disasters. Secondly, deforestation can contribute to an increase in natural disasters, since forests usually prevent floods and droughts since they balance and hold back natural groundwater resources. Next, the seismic activities inside our Earth can cause earthquakes. These earthquakes can cause death and injuries for many people as well as for animals and other life forms. It also leads to a loss of many homes so that people who survived often have to leave their home countries in order to find a better future. Lastly, since our nature is a quite sensitive organism, pollutions of all sorts may lead to an imbalance of the earth, which in turn may create natural disasters of several sorts. Now that we know the definition of natural disasters and what their primary causes are, we're going to discuss two case studies. Let's look at the Japan earthquake and tsunami that took place in 2011. The event began with a powerful earthquake off the northeastern coast of Honshu, Japan's main island, which caused widespread damage on land and initiated a series of large tsunami waves that devastated many coastal areas of the country, most notably in the Tohoku region. Within 2 weeks of the disaster, the Japanese government's official count of deaths had exceeded 10,000. More than 1.5 times that number were still listed as missing and presumed dead. By then it was evident that the earthquake and tsunami constituted one of the deadliest natural disasters in Japanese history. The tsunami also instigated a major nuclear accident at a power station along the coast. The reactor accident in Fukushima in 2011 resulted in the release of radioactive material into the atmosphere. The radioactive fallout has dispersed locally, regionally, and globally over land and sea by weather, mainly by wind and precipitation. Over time, surface contamination in urban areas has decreased because of the effects of wind, rain, traffic, street washing, and cleanup. Our second case study focuses on Hurricane Katrina. Hurricane Katrina struck the Gulf Coast of the United States in 2005. While the storm itself did a great deal of damage, its aftermath was catastrophic. Levee breaches led to massive flooding, and many people charged that the federal government was slow to meet the needs of the people affected by the storm. Hundreds of thousands of people in Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama were displaced from their homes. Because of the ensuing destruction and loss of life, the storm is often considered one of the worst in U.S. history. An estimated 1,200 people died as a direct result of the storm. An estimated 400,000 people were permanently displaced by the storm. Demographic shifts followed in the wake of the hurricane. The lowest income residents often found it more difficult to return. Some neighborhoods now have fewer residents under 18, as some families chose to permanently resettle in cities like Houston, Dallas, and Atlanta. The effects of natural disasters are very destructive. Here we've listed the main ones: environmental issues, humanitarian crisis, damages to infrastructure, public health issues and diseases, food and water scarcity, displaced population, injuries, fatalities, emotional shocks, and economic impact. For this discussion, we are primarily interested in the environmental issues. There are severe effects of natural disasters on the whole environmental system. Hurricanes and other storms can destroy the lives and also the livelihoods of many people, especially of those who live near the coast, since they are also in danger of tsunamis. Moreover, droughts may lead to a migration of people who just will no longer be able to make their living in their home countries, since there is not enough water left to grow plants or to raise cattle. Natural disasters not only have dramatic effects on humans, but they also destroy the habitat of many animals and plants, which may, in the worst case, even become extinct. So how does this relate to the issue of environmental justice? To refresh our memories, the environmental justice refers to the fair treatment and meaningful involvement of all people with respect to the development, implementation, and enforcement of environmental laws, regulations, and policies. Considering this definition and what we've discussed so far, I want you to think a bit more about this. As we've seen already in the case of Hurricane Katrina, such natural disasters reveal unequal treatment in our societies. Studies show that people of low social status occupy a disproportionately large percentage of houses that are exposed to a high risk of natural disasters. Contrastingly, people of higher social status are situated at least risk. What is more, individuals reside in systems of inequity in the family, village, district, region, and nation that increase their vulnerability to natural hazards. Lastly, natural disasters relief and reconstruction reinforces rather than alters existing social hierarchies. That is all for today's session. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next week.